how do you go about like finding good deals versus just something that everyone's gonna find? Like, where do you look?
Um, I mean, obviously, so most let's start with just where everyone already looks. Usually, people are have an agent. The
Mm-hmm.
agent is shopping deals on this thing called the MLS, which is the multiple listing service. So that's where kind of all states have a kind of a lockdown on agents and where they list properties and all that stuff. So that's where everybody's looking for deals. So that's
Okay.
when you find a deal, you can find a deal on the MLS, but everyone has access to that. So
Got it.
everyone can see that. So you may not find the best deal there, but there used to be a thing called foreclosureradar.com that we would use, and that kind of
And this is just to find listings.
yeah.
Okay.
But foreclosure radar would be actual properties that like are in default, right? So
Okay.
so anytime that someone is 90 days behind on a mortgage payment,
Mm-hmm.
then the lender files this thing called a notice of default,
Okay.
and then it's recorded to the property. So that's public record information. So this site would actually track all of those properties that are in that space between foreclosure. Because once the notice of default is filed, there's like a certain cure time that that person that owns the home has to be able to catch it up
Okay.
or sell it on their own to pay off the debt before the actual lender is going to take the property and then put it up for sale.
Okay.
And then that goes into like a public auction kind of thing where you can still find a deal in an auction, but once it goes to auction, everyone also has that information too.
Got it.
And they show up to the auction, so you may get overbid and it might be a waste of time. But
Okay.
finding properties that are actually, in default or people that are in distress of some sort,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good way to find a good deal.
So is it a good deal because it's lower than it would normally go for because it's in default?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
A
okay.
lot of times when someone is in distress, for whatever reason, they're more, they don't have as much time to like negotiate. They
They
can't.
need to get out of the deal right now, so you got more leverage.
Got it,
Exactly,
got it.
exactly. But
So
also,
yeah,
but also too, something that I do too is look for fixer properties, fixer uppers.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I've done flips. I did like a flip in Mid City last year where we bought it for $600,000. Added, it was like a 2-bedroom, 1 bath.
Okay.
And someone that I knew had the listing, an agent that I know, and the woman that was selling it, she wasn't she was like 94 years old and she was going to a retirement home, so she wasn't looking to break the bank with her selling it. She bought the house for $40,000 in the 60s, and so she sold it to us for $600,000. I'm sure she could have maybe gotten $750.
But she bought it for $40,000.
Yeah, in the 60s. Yeah.
Oh, honey.
That's called inflation, and that's
Wow.
why I kind of tell everyone to whatever point you're in or wherever the economy's at, just buy something now, because just by how economics works, in 20 years with inflation, it's going to be worth a lot more than it is when you bought it. So, and LA has a huge, I would say, I don't know the exact metric, but Los Angeles has higher appreciation value than a lot of other states. So. But yeah, so anyway, she sold it to us for $600,000, and it was a complete fixer upper. I mean, like everything outdated. It's like she maybe didn't do repairs since the 70s to the house.
Right.
We remodeled the entire house. It was a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. We added 500 square feet to the house and made it a 3-bedroom, 2 bath. So then it was 1,600 square feet. And then we built another unit in the back of the house, which was a 1-bedroom, 1 bath, and it was 500 square feet. But it was easy to get that permitted because the city of Los Angeles has a thing that it's called an ADU. Have you guys heard of that?
No.
Yeah, so an ADU is an accessory dwelling unit.
Okay.
So because like the housing, there's I'm sure you've heard that there's a housing crisis in LA.
Yes.
There's a shortage of housing and affordable housing at that for renters and all that stuff. So the city of LA, LA is if you look at the houses in LA, like most of these houses were built in either the 20s, 30s,
Right.
40s, and there's not a lot of space to build something.
Yeah, build new.
Yeah. So with that's one of the main causes of the housing crisis or shortage in LA. So the city of LA passed this code to where people can, build this granny flat, they call it, or an accessory dwelling unit, which is, there's certain, you can either convert your garage into a 1-bedroom, 1 bath unit or 2-bed, whatever works there, or you can actually build another structure.
I used to live in a place like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. So, okay, here's my question. Okay, so she sells the house that she bought for $40,000. She sells it to you for $600,000. You give her that money. Now, when you do the renovations on that house, who's paying for the renovations? Do you have to take out of the $600,000 to do that renovation?
No. That's on top of that. Yeah. So we sold the house for 1.2, and that's another thing. So, and right, COVID-19 has kind of switched up a lot of like construction lending stuff, and
Yeah.
so there's other loans called hard money loans, right? So most hard money loans, their whole game is like they lend to flippers.
Okay.
Right? So most people that do flips in LA use hard money loans to do this work.
Yeah.
So a hard money lender knows exactly what you're doing. They kind of rate you off of your experience, whatever liquidity that you have. But there's other, they'll even lend to anybody that doesn't have experience. It may be a higher interest rate, but if it's really based on the deal. You can have terrible credit, all types of stuff on it, but they're really lending to you based on the deal. So just to give an example of something that I did, so we only had to put down 10% on that 600,000,
Okay.
$60K.
Okay.
Paid maybe $18K in closing costs.
Okay.
So paid that out of pocket, but then they loaned us $240,000 to do all of the repairs to the
Okay.
house. But what they do with the $240,000, so the woman is paid off with our $60,000 that we paid plus the other 90%, the $540 that the hard money lender loaned out. So they got that money. She got that money and walked away.
So the hard money lender's giving her the 60 plus the 540.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm giving her the 60. Hard money lender is giving her the 540.
Okay.
She's paid off. Now this other 240,000, they are releasing that money to us in draws, right?
Okay.
So, we have to actually have our contractor do the first amount of work, send photos, and an inspector comes out, and then they're like, okay, now we'll release 30 grand to you. This is equivalent to 30 grand. We'll release that to you,
Okay.
right? Let's do the same thing. Use that money to keep doing stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Come out and inspect, release it to you in draws. And the reason why they do it like that is just to kind of mitigate risk on their side.
Right.
If they have to actually, jump in and finish, they can give you the whole 240 up front, and then you go to Mexico and now they still have to spend money to fix the house
Exactly.
and do what was the plan. So that's kind of how that works. And literally anyone can do that
Okay.
if you have down payment money.
And then how do you find a hard money lender?
Oh, I mean, that's easy. I even broker hard money loans with people, and just ask around, Google.
Okay.
If you don't know virtually anyone in real estate, which is, right now everyone knows somebody that's in real estate, so you can be connected or just Google it.
Okay, cool.
People will come up.
Cool.
So when you're doing one of these deals and you're like, cool, 600 grand, and you ended up selling it for 1.2 million. Are you kind of aware of what you can sell it for in the beginning? And what is that based off of? Just looking at all of the market, all the houses, like based on, it's three. If we can turn it from a 2-bedroom to a 3-bedroom and it has this amount of square foot, is a lot of it square footage and how many bedrooms it has?
Exactly.
And how many bathrooms?
Exactly. That's exactly it. So all they do is we look at comps.
Right. So I guess if you find something, you're like, I'm gonna add another bedroom to this, then you kind of know you're able to flip it for like a lot more money.
Yeah, and all you do is, that's a great way to use the MLS, because then you look at, you can do like a little criteria search and see, okay, what's sold, within this area at the proposed square footage. So if we had 1,100 square feet in the beginning, then we can type in, okay, 2,000 square feet or 16, whatever it's going to be.
Right.
And then do like a radius search of a quarter mile, because you want to do the closest, and then you kind of go out if you don't see anything in a close proximity. But that's pretty much how you do it. And then that's how the lender's going to do it too. So wherever you see it, the lender's always going to be more conservative than where you see it. Right. So, but if it works for them, obviously then it, it can be a good deal, because they're very conservative in how they look at that. So it has to be like a home run. Like I saw 1.2 for it from the jump, but the lender saw kind of like 1.1-ish for that. Right.
So are you just assuming, like, when you approach this lady, are you just assuming that someone's going to buy this? Like, how do you know? Like, you just invested all this money, you got a hard money loan. Like, how do you know? Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So then you kind of get more detailed in like the data that you're looking at. So even before you buy it, and then I'm projecting like, okay, 1.2 is going to be the sales price.
Yeah.
Then I'm also looking like how many these houses that I'm basing that 1.2 on that have actually sold, like how many days did these houses stay on the market?
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like,
okay.
If you see that everything is kind of selling within a 30-day time frame around the price that you want, then it's a pretty good deal. Unless like, you know, there could always be something crazy that happens.
Right.
And, you know, everything can go to shit. But if you see that, you know, there's times if you see like, oh, things are staying on the market for like 65 days, 90 days.
Right.
Then it's, you know what I mean? Then it's kind of.
Well, but it kind of fucks you though, because if you have a hard money loan and you don't sell the house, you still have to pay the interest on that loan, right?
Oh yeah. And it's very high interest payments.
Like, what would you say? Like,
ours on that one was 8.5%.
Wow.
And the reason why it's much higher interest is just because it's a very risky loan, you know, for them. And it's not based on any income documentation or anything like that. It's solely based on the deal. So,
right.
You know, and that's why they take that risk. They want a good return. And they charge you points too when you, you know, originate the loan and all that stuff. But,
got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, it's very risky, but people that do it consistently know enough metrics to, you know, come out, you know, on top when they.